Are the Arizona Cardinals at the goal line in their pursuit of their next head coach? Could Rams offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur going to lock up the gig in the next 24 to 48 hours, Johnny?
Plus, we'll walk you through what this weekend has been like and where things are headed. Could the Cardinals be on the verge of not only securing their head coach, but their defensive coordinator? PHNX Cardinals, Bo's back, starts now. Hey, welcome in. From Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier, and I'll emphasize, #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is Bo Brack. Noah Man behind the mic. Monday, January 26th could be a big week for this franchise, Bo.
Absolutely could, on a day that started with Adam Schefter predicting that none of the head coaching vacancies could be open come Wednesday. The Cardinals making up some ground after kind of falling behind, 6 hires being made and 4 remaining. What's going on, everybody in the chat? How about Mike D, Dylan Richards, gaming with Dapple, I believe. How about Coach Mike LaFleur? Love that name. Schaff, what's going on? New Jersey Cardinal. Joe. How about Mike Benjamin, Dante Benjamin, Reese, LeBron, Burnt Marble, Slim Mikey, AZ Moses, the entire crew. That's right, Sports Hero. I'm back. I never left. Well, I did. Quick John up the hill this Saturday. But look, this episode of PHNX Cardinals is brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app today. Use the code PHNX365. And when you do that, you get just deposit $10. You can bet $5. You get $150 in bonus bets. Win or lose. But Johnny, what's going on, my man?
It's good to see you. I love how we phrase it like Bo like took time off. Like just we weren't scheduled to have a show Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
And so I did an emergency podcast. Bo was like, I'm going to try to find cell service. I'm going to try to get. And I said, no, absolutely not. Because again, like I'm not going to sit here and toot our own horn all show, but like the information that we had on Saturday, it was good in context, but it wasn't really new compared to like what we had discussed on Friday's show. It was just a little bit more concrete. So with that being said, we talked about it Saturday morning and, put some stuff out there. Then other people confirmed it. And then you fast forward to now and you've got Mike LaFleur, who's doing a 2-day stint with the Cardinals today and tomorrow. So before we dive into the last 24 hours, Bo, give me your reaction of kind of how this has transpired since we've done the show on Friday, given that, I think a lot of us felt like this is where it was trending. It feels like a lot of people are just kind of catching up to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really kind of found solid footing Saturday, right? I mean, I think Friday, it really kind of Schefter jumped on McAfee and mentioned it, and it backed up what our guy Ari had told us earlier that week. And Mike LaFleur, with the very little things trickling out of Cardinals organization, that LaFleur and Raheem Morris seem to be like the only names that you could say, okay, well, at least we know that these guys are in the mix. And then I think LaFleur just kind of materialized and cemented himself as a finalist. This weekend happens. Yesterday's games happen. Rams offense shows up. Their defense doesn't. They're going home. And then the report comes out that he's going to go do a 2-day stint. It's like, okay, that's a little bit of a, first vacation for a new couple right there. Things have got to be getting pretty serious. And it looks like it. And you see, it's twofold, right? I mean, it's LaFleur, the offensive guy, a name that's kind of been looming around for a while. He kind of takes the reign here as a front runner. And it knocks all the way out what everybody else was trying to spoon feed you regardless if you want it or not. Like my 7-month-old, just keeping his mouth like tightly shut, doesn't want the peas. Everybody telling you Vance Joseph, and here we are Monday, the Cardinals on the precipice of a hire and down in the finalists, and Vance Joseph's name's nowhere to be found, legitimately tied to the Arizona Cardinals hiring, or vacancy. So look, I mean, we're not going to be here to spike the football, but I think collectively we should spike the football. I think that is a big win for the Cardinals fan base. I think it's a big win for this community. I think it's a big win for a fresh direction for this organization that desperately needs it.
It's tough, like, because Bo and I don't set out to do this to like play gotcha or do the scoop game. Our job is just to try to keep people informed as much as possible with honest insight and not have an agenda. And too often those things kind of have a little bit of a blurry line, especially here locally, right? I mean, they're frankly people here locally that I just don't know what they're doing. Like, this has been probably one of the most chaotic 3 weeks since I've started covering the team professionally. And it's like, you look around and it's just us and some other people, and then like everybody else on Twitter, and it's all the fans that clearly want information. So all that to say, and I kind of said my piece about Vance on Saturday. I'll reiterate a little bit of this now. Like, I'm happy for Vance. I'm glad he had a good showing. I think that was impacted greatly by the snowstorm, 100%. But like, the defense played well, and we've always contended he's a great defensive coordinator. But like, the notion that the Cardinals were going to hire Vance Joseph after they fired Jonathan Gannon because people were unhappy with the product, and then you saw, I thought it was really well timed, Teo Mackey's article that is just basically something we had confirmed 6 weeks ago, that they were hemorrhaging season tickets. Like, we were told that Bidwill had a conversation with JG, and it's just like, we have a problem here beyond just wins and losses. Like, people have turned off this product. To turn around then and hire hire Vance Joseph, it just never made any sense. It legitimately would have been Michael Bidwill saying, I don't care about revenue. I don't care about fan input. I'm fine with empty stadiums. Like, and the people here locally, I really do believe, let's put the people outside this market on the side for a second, because I think that they had not an agenda, but an opportunity to pub Vance up because they like Vance Joseph. So yeah, I'm not going to knock them, but push your guy and work with an agent. No harm, no foul. The people who were pushing that locally, that's embarrassing. And I would question getting information, especially about the Cardinals, from people who were pushing that narrative here locally, because it was a lazy take, and it was a take that was uninformed. And if it had any inclination for Michael Bidwill to side with that take, that it's directly impacting the well-being of this franchise, something that Bo and I will never do.
Right. No, it was a toddler level, just connect the dots that you find at Chili's, whatever restaurant you might go to, and they place the placemat down in front of your son, and okay, there it is. Vance Joseph ties the organization. Michael Bidwill, I know he likes him. Let's just tab him the front runner and then get on to whatever our focus is, because it's not giving the Cardinals in-depth and logical actual candidates for the job. So it's really unfortunate. But look, and you were able to fade that. You were able to kind of fade the noise throughout this process, and now we're just right there as far as the Cardinals making a decision. And I'd be curious to see like what this is about, like what they wanted to do. Rap sheet reports, so we've got it, that LaFleur is going to make his way to the Valley today. I would assume probably dinner tonight. And then, the second part of this is tomorrow, getting in the facility and just kind of getting his bearings and seeing if this is the fit that everybody expects before, making an announcement or making the report to trickle out and then an official announcement. And I'm sure like an introductory press conference, but we know what the finalists are. There was one little late addition to it today before the LaFleur news came out, Johnny. It was Anthony Weaver, who was scheduled to meet with the team, I believe, yesterday. Diane Rossini dropped this earlier today at 7:15 locally. Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver will meet in person with the Cardinals about their head coaching vacancy, per source. Weaver received second interviews with Steelers Ravens to get another interview with Arizona. He hasn't been mentioned, seriously for this job. This is the biggest kind of serious involvement with the Cardinals. What do we make of Weaver before we get back on kind of more the LaFleur conversation?
I think I was told Saturday that this was the second of two Rooney Rule visits that they had to get in. But then there was somebody who said that the Cardinals had already complied. But then when I reached out for context, I couldn't get a straight answer as it relates to, no, they're going to comply once the Weaver interview is done. So I don't know for certain. Raheem Morris visited the team. You have to get two for the Rooney Rule now. You have to get two coaches, minority coaches in person.
Yeah.
Right. You can't just check a box over Zoom like the old days, which is good. I'm glad they're doing this way. Raheem Morris came in and visited with the team. Thomas Brown has not, so that didn't count. I don't know what other minority candidate would have visited with the team. So, I mean, part of I was on the phone.
Raheem Morris, right?
No, but you have to have two. So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
People thought that this is legitimate, and it's legitimate. And I'll get to why it's legitimate here in a second. But I was like on the phone at like my son's flag football game at 8 a.m. Saturday, getting this information. And somebody specifically told me I was paying attention in between plays. We didn't have a great day on the flag football field. And I was paying attention in between plays, and somebody told me over the phone that they have to get Weaver in. Those were their words, and that LaFleur is the front runner, and that's likely going to be early next week, regardless of the Rams situation. And then we wake up to that report today. So then I put the tweet out like 9 a.m. People are like, whatever. And again, I'm not here to do sources. If I have information, I'll put it out there. We'll never get credit. It's fine. It's whatever. It's for the 700 people watching the show. And so Monday came around and today, and Rossini tweeted that out. And my first inclination is 100%. He lives in Miami. I bet his flight got canceled. I bet it got delayed. I bet he got in last night. He either got in last night or this morning, and they had to push the interview because Rap Sheet said his interview was Sunday. Like that was, hey, he's coming in Sunday to do his interview. So he came in today, and then they immediately kicked him out, and Mike LaFleur is with them tonight. However, and somebody pointed this out on Twitter, and I had not connected the dots either, that LaFleur and Anthony Weaver, I think, crossed paths together in Cleveland. But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
I believe that while it was it checks the Rooney Rule box, I believe that it's either Raheem Morris or Anthony Weaver or both that they're targeting to be Mike LaFleur's defensive coordinator. You see this with other teams where they do extensive interviews with people who are not going to get the job. We talked about it, like Jonathan Gannon did a very long, intensive, like 2-day thing with the Titans when they were going to hire Nagy, and then Gannon wouldn't have taken the job. But that's what these teams do. It's like Diana Rossini, and people are telling you, these are the finalists.
Right.
But where are the finalists offensively to work with Anthony Campanile?
Right.
Doesn't mean they don't exist, but people just don't connect the dots. This is easy to follow.
Right. As much as you might want our guy, Coach Camp, right?
He might get the job. I don't know.
A little tryst we had late last week where he was added as a serious candidate and a finalist. But yeah, I mean, look, Weaver, Morris, you got to like the prospects of that. I mean, he's a guy that unfortunate for him, he's been a bridesmaid in a lot of these openings, as Rossini pointed out. Now I'm sure he's just kind of lining up his ducks as far as where does he want to land as a defensive coordinator? Because it seems like that door is shut. In his previous job with the Dolphins, is Hafley's working quickly to fill his new coaching staff out. So I'm sure, Weaver didn't want to kind of like spurn the Cardinals and not take them up on their offer, and understood like it was about as a long shot it could possibly be at this point in the process to become the next head coach. But, I think Weaver saw this as, okay, I will come in, maybe I'll get some free golf out of it. I'll get a free meal, and I'll continue to network this league where it's an exclusive club to try to become one of 32. Like he's been making the rounds for the last couple off seasons now. I think he understands he's right there. If he just, can connect enough, maybe he'll get kicked through that door next year.
He's a DC out of work. Right. He was a DC this year, and his defense wasn't terrible.
Right.
I heard from several Dolphins fans today in my mention saying ignore, and they're not trying to get a comp pick. They're just because they won't. It's not like Vance where people are trying to get a comp pick. Anthony Weaver, they're just like, ignore it. He's a good DC. They had a bad year. They had minimal talent. Like, who's on the Dolphins defense? And they won some games. Raheem Morris, impressive down the stretch. Anthony Weaver, track record, right?
Mm-hmm.
Connor Hughes, who does a really nice job for New York sports. He's part of the SNY Sports Network. He's got over 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
He had Stefanski before anybody else. And then, see, this is like where like the gotcha credit game comes into play. He put out that like probably 6 or 7 hours after I put out my tweet about LaFleur, he put out his tweet that LaFleur was the front runner. And then somebody asked him, who's he going to get as a DC? And he goes, they're going to get a former head coach to be his DC. Well, that's Raheem Morris, presumably, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is like, it's not a problem, but it's just an optic standpoint. Like, if Anthony Campanile, he is the front runner, by the way. Let's just make that clear. Mike LaFleur, it's his job to lose.
Right.
But even we said it on Friday, and Bo and I have been texting all weekend. If his interview doesn't go well, a la Chris Shula, it sounds like,
right,
then he's not going to get the job. And there are going to be people like, oh, you were wrong. Nah, nah, nah. It's like they could have hired Anthony Campanile already. They wanted to talk to this guy. He is from the division. We're going to talk about all of his credentials and everything else. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure if they go with Campanile, first of all, we're not going to be disappointed because it's clear that he had a 2-day interview and it didn't go well. Do I think that's going to happen? I do not. I've been wrong before, but I feel like when you take a guy, when you jet set a guy right after the conference championship and basically kick one candidate out, respectfully, LaFleur is here. They're going out to dinner. They're meeting families. They're going to do all day at the facility tomorrow. Like, where do we think this is headed?
Yeah, it's heading towards a deal, right? And unless he pulls Step Brothers, he's got a tuxedo on and he breaks wind for 30 seconds plus. And Monti Ossenfort is Seth Rogen at the sporting goods store and says it's kind of effed up. Maybe that's the only thing that could maybe torpedo LaFleur's chances. But it's all signs pointing towards and trending towards the second LaFleur as a head coach. Cardinals pivoting from an offense coach to defensive coach back to an offensive coach. And, Mike LaFleur going from McVay's staff to building his own here in the desert. Let's take a look real quick, if we could, Noah, at the our upside coaching tracker here. Of course, if you drive, what are you doing? Don't waste any more time. Start to earn cash from our friends over the Upside app. Download it today. So Weaver, VJ, of course, but he's going to have his own job that he's not going to want to leave. Morris does not have a job to go back to. Shula's got a job to go back to. So does Matt Burke. So it's really only Weaver and Morris that could be guys you've talked to about the head coaching position that you could potentially bring in a different spot. So there isn't any kind of, just little Easter eggs that you can kind of pick up before that as far as their interview tracker goes. Thanks to our friends over at Upside.
I mean, it's really just going to come down to staff. I mean, where LaFleur has the upside, no pun intended, is he's an offensive coach, right? Like that just helps you. His experience in the division gives him a check mark and hit. Like if all things are equal, you're going to go with the offensive coach that's been in the NFC West, right? Like that just, but if they're worried about how he's going to motivate, if they're worried about his ability to get a qualified DC, which like money talks there. If they outbid teams, Raheem Morris is like, I love Mike LaFleur. We've worked together before. How much you paying? Oh, I'll come be your DC. That's it. Like Vance Joseph had no ties to Cliff Kingsbury. Steve Keim, Michael Bidwill made it happen with a big fat check.
Right.
Like, whereas, and I said this with Espo and Southwest Bias earlier today, with Anthony Campanile, I think the defense would be good.
Right.
We don't know what we're getting on the offense. And you also have kind of the caveat, if the offense ever does perform, that coordinator then becomes a commodity, could leave. And especially like you got a quarterback and you're trying to develop them. I know it's a tomorrow problem, but it's easier to find qualified DC candidate. They're available every offseason. I mean, we're talking about Weaver and Raheem Morris.
Yeah.
There are usually guys like that every cycle, whereas Mike McDaniel was fired. The only real competent play caller available outside of maybe Brian Daboll and Joe Brady. And it's like everybody wants Mike McDaniel. And the Cardinals aren't going to get Mike McDaniel in those kind of instances. So Is Mike LaFleur my preference? Yes. But would I understand if they pivoted to Campanile because he blew them away and LaFleur underwhelmed? No, like that's kind of stuff happens in the NFL all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the defense versus offensive guy, like I think that the Super Bowl is more of an anomaly. I think it's fluky that we've got two defensive guys.
Look at the NFC Championship game.
Right, exactly. The NFC Championship game where the defensive guy like outlasted the offensive guy. Just and you couple the defensive guy with one of the top coordinators offensively, and it just completely changed that organization. Right, you paired him with Sam Darnold. Or Sam Darnell, as Chris Carter calls him on Twitter, and you put him in a position to be successful, and it was just rocket fuel as far as that team goes. And then, Mike Vrabel's I think he's kind of transcended the defensive guy mentality. Yeah. Like he's a guy that's just a damn good head coach in the league, and he was able to put and empower Drake May and put him in a position for success, on their way, all the way back. From the bottom of the NFL to back where they were far too long.
I mean, Klint Kubiak was unbelievable last night. I mean, like they're going to lose Klint Kubiak likely to the Raiders or the Bills. Like they have this massive hole to fill. Now they might be Super Bowl champions and they're going to buy themselves a lot of time. But like Mike McDonald won 10 games last year, and they won it. They won games close. They won games scoring 20 points, right? Now, can Anthony Campanile find a Klint Kubiak? Then if that's, let's do that. Go find one every hiring cycle. These are two good candidates. There are pros and cons to both. We give the big thumbs up regardless. Because why? Because they went through their process and there are options available. And at the end of the day, this is not them copying out and hiring Vance Joseph. Like, Sean McDermott, we'll talk about it, I'm sure, as the show progresses, not going to coach this year. We predicted that. I got it wrong about Mike McCarthy, but it sounds like Chris Shula blew his interview, if you believe local reports in Pittsburgh. So here's the thing, though. They have to get this done tomorrow. Whomever you hire, do it tomorrow because you need to start building your staff. You got a gift from the Seahawks yesterday. LaFleur is available. Campanile's available. Find your guy, get him, and
it's going to happen tomorrow. And here's why: it's just like the tea leaves began to fall, and you could read them back when Albert Breer put it out that Monti Ossenfort Cardinals were infatuated by the Rams guys. Yeah. I mean, it started very, and so like they've got this inkling. Okay, this is somebody I like. This is somebody that they put near the top of their list.
Yep.
I think the run back to the NFC Championship game for the Rams. The offense continuing to impress, being the top point scoring offense in the league, the collaboration that, LaFleur has had for the last 3 years with Sean McVay. And it's just, he just probably they had an initial interview before the divisional round. And now they just need to just solidify things and make sure that, in person, things mesh as well as they have before. And the idea that it could like fall apart at the seams, like, I think that'd be a very rare fluky occurrence if that happens, because like you've got all the newsmakers, like when the way Rap Sheet phrased it, certain phrasing as far as them basically saying this is almost a sure thing. I mean, I would expect by showtime tomorrow for us, we know that who's the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Damn near definitively.
Yeah. And like, do you think that is going to be not Mike LaFleur based on he will be in Arizona tomorrow? I mean, it happened to Matt Nagy, I guess. Like Anthony Campanile is not going to be in Arizona tomorrow, and Mike LaFleur is. Wouldn't that give him the leg up, theoretically, if they're trying to get something done? Or do you think it could be one of those things where it's just like, hey, we're going to send Mike away, not great. Campanile blew away the interview, which we knew he would, right? Mia told us that last week. Yeah. And then you just call him like, hey, you're the coach? Like, do you think that could happen?
I think if Camp had that mind-blowing of an interview, they probably would have just hired him on the spot.
You think so?
I mean, if LaFleur didn't already have the edge,
which we believe he does,
yeah.
Which people bigger than this show have reported that the Cardinals want him. They wanted it. They waited to meet with him, and now he's in their building. I mean, like, I guess Bidwill could be like, he reminds me too much of Cliff. But then I've watched videos of, and he's got kind of that mindset of like, I don't want somebody that's kind of underwhelming in front of a room. And I've watched him speak, and like he reminds me of? This is a genius take. His brother. He sounds like his brother.
No.
He looks and sounds like his brother, who is a very successful NFL coach. Like some people are like, he's not Campanile in terms of the bravado. That's not what you're getting. But we've seen too, like Liam Cohen, Kevin O'Connell, these guys are like, I trust where they've come from. It's not a sure thing though. And there are going to be people coming after this show because we're like, oh yeah, we prefer Mike LaFleur. Like, you told me it was going to work out. And I'm like, I'm telling you what I think. I think that Mike LaFleur, given the track record, given where the league is, given the opportunity to have a plus defensive coordinator, I like that gamble more.
Yeah. But before you get too far into it, let's get into that conversation. As far as LaFleur versus Campanile versus Raheem Morris, the packages that could be in place for any of these finalists, but mostly like LaFleur. Let's get into that a little bit. Let's do that. Let's do it coming up next here. It's PHNX Cardinals. Hit that like.
So fired up to continue to be sponsored with our partners in Circle K. It's in every opening. We say live from Studio K, but it's really the lifeblood of what we do here at PHNX Sports, our partnership with the number one convenience store. And convenience is the emphasis word, because I want you to think beyond just your gas, which is already at not a premium price to fill up right now. I filled up the other day under $3 per gallon as a member of the Inner Circle, but I'm thinking inside, right? I picked up some hydrating materials in the form of some Gatorades. I'm going to tell you right now what I paid inside as a member of the Inner Circle at Circle K as compared to a traditional brick and mortar grocery store is night and day. I pick up all my general deals at Circle K. Buy 2, get 1 free Monster 16 ounce. Buy 2, get 1 free Celsius 12 or 16 ounce. And of course, save 25 cents per gallon when you buy 3 Coca-Cola 20 ounce products. So you're stacking deals and you're saving money in the process. This one's going to serve me well when we're out in San Francisco. 16 ounce Bud Light or Michelob Ultra, $1.50 each. Let's go. And let's go with the meal deal matrix, the $3 meal deal matrix. How about a Glizzy Frito-Lay's chips and 44 ounces of Polar Pop goodness? All that can be yours and more by joining the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details.
True story. Was at a Circle K this morning getting my coffee, and overhead somebody asked the attendant, hey, you guys have any more Four Loko in the back? Interesting way to start your Monday morning over at a Circle K. Always keeping you on your toes. Let's talk about what else you can find at Circle K. Arizona Lottery. Of course, look, quick reminder, you got to be 21 plus to play. If you're looking to add a little extra excitement to your routine, check out the multiplier family of scratchers. That's right, of Arizona Lottery. These are about multiplying the good stuff, baby. Vacations, relaxations, celebrations, you name it. And with over $270 million in prizes, you could win big enough to do more of what you love. Multiplier tickets start at just $1. Prizes up to $5 million. I mean, if that hits, I'm booking a trip to, I don't know, Hawaii. Sounds good to me. Officially putting my phone on airplane mode. No more text from Johnny. I'm going to be with my feet up and enjoying a nice cocktail on the beach. If you're more into instant action, Arizona Lottery also has triple themed games, triple the fun. You can play triple red sevens, triple cash payout scratchers, and chances to win up to $100,000, plus triple red sevens fast play with progressive jackpot starting at $30,000. With over 3,500 retailers statewide, including Circle K, you can play whenever, wherever you'd like. Just make sure you're 21 or older, and good luck.
All right, let's get into this. We got 1,000 people watching live. Hit that like button, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Let's talk Campanile versus LaFleur, which, again, breath of fresh air. Real adult conversations being had now on PHNX Cardinals. Not pitter-patter guesswork, climbing off the national media, connecting the dots. You mentioned Albert Breer, by the way, before the break. Here's where people are. And I like Albert a lot, and I hope to see him at Super Bowl in the Combine. Mm-hmm. He's still talking about Vance in his article this morning. He's like, Vance is available if the Cardinals, like, he did a quick hit on every team. He's like, Vance is still available if the Cardinals want to talk to him. I'm like, can this stop? You got Josina Anderson last night carrying water for Vance. She's like, I know the Cardinals saw that Vance Joseph performance. My favorite comment was somebody quote tweeted it, went like this. Hopefully the Cardinals went like this. It's just like, guys, stop it. Stop it, national media. Stop it, local reporters. There are 2 candidates for this job. We know who they are. Let's talk the pros and cons. Bo, let's start with Mike LaFleur. Let's talk about the pros.
The pros, no doubt about it, the offensive innovation. I think that's, of course, in an offensive league, something that you can't be short on. Seen it far too much here in the Valley of the Sun, especially with this Cardinals team, which has talent on offense, but they can't harness it. They can't, tap into its potential. You look at what's gone on as far as the Rams most recently led the league in points scored. They were able to feed several mouths in that offense. And sure, a lot has to do with quarterback play. A lot has to do with Sean McVay. But I think the collaboration is key there. The way they game plan, the way they get into it as far as really tapping into that game plan and letting things kind of unfold, getting Puka involved. Secondary receivers like Devontae Adams, the tight end in that game plan, plus the run game. It's all those things that you're going to want, plus the knowledge of what you're going to face twice a year. And Sean McVay, and also twice a year with Kyle Shanahan, who LaFleur has spent several years working underneath. I think there's just like 3 people who've served in a mentor capacity for Mike LaFleur, and they're about as 3 of the most impressive offensive minds that the league has to offer, and his brother Matt, and then of course Shanahan and McVay.
You're banking on his football acumen of where he went to school, not collegiately, but how he was schooled in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what matters. And he's sitting there with Bidwill and Ossenfort and the brain trust, and he's going to be able to walk through every single aspect, nook and cranny of how Sean McVay has operated for the better part of the last half decade. Same thing with Kyle Shanahan. Cardinals, the division is a juggernaut, and the Cardinals are just like a little, pull car. I mean, they can't compete, right? Like, and we've made the argument, number one, you'd want a guy with head coaching experience. They couldn't get that. So number 2, and maybe equally as important, you need somebody from the division. You need to be able to get somebody from within this division that has respect. Don't just hire anybody, that can not only put a staff together competently with ties to the division, but you just know what you're getting into every time you play these teams. We thought Jonathan Gannon had closed the gap. Then this year, that just nobody looked prepared. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, this division is a juggernaut. I feel like he will be able to come in here and get this team to a point where they are stable, put together a stable routine. What his brother does, what McVay does, what Shanahan does, what these guys have done to own the process, right? The process is everything. It is everything. Your ability to hold guys that are making 7 and 8 generational money, 7 or 8 figures, accountable every single day. How is that done at the highest level? I mean, even Jonathan Gannon, the back half of this year, lost buy-in from the team. Mm-hmm. Like, they just can't. That's why it just can't happen. The players weren't responding to him. Whereas you get a guy from this infrastructure, again, like, has he called plays at a high level? He has not. The Jets situation was a disaster. But again, we had somebody on our show say they hired Greg Knapp. He was his mentor, QB coach, died tragically. Then they drafted Zach Wilson, who, unlike the rest of these guys, hasn't had a reclamation process because he stinks. He's terrible, and he was forced onto him. I'm gonna give the guy some grace when he was in his early 30s, when his mentor dies abruptly, and he has to coach Zach Wilson against Bill Belichick and the Buffalo Bills.
Well, the entirety, the collection of offensive talent, it was some of the worst you could see year in and year out in the NFL. I mean, at one point it was, 4 quarterbacks and 4 quarterbacks ready. His first season as OC for the Jets, from Joe Flacco to Mike White. And then you've got, I think the best receiver they had was Elijah Moore on that team, right? That was before Garrett Wilson. They had, and then they had the Zach Wilson issue, going from BYU, that not translating to the next the next year. You
Yeah.
went from 2020 to 2021, and it was just it was a mess. It's not something you can defend. You hope that there were some harsh lessons learned from that. When I look at that, like, it tells me I probably don't want LaFleur as my primary play caller. And it's not like based on like he can't do it.
Yeah.
I think he's capable of doing it. But like, I don't want LaFleur going from not calling plays here in Los Angeles, most recently for the last 3 seasons, to a larger role and then reassuming play calling duties. Like there was so many people down the stretch with Cliff was like, why don't you relinquish play calling duties and just see if you can like master being the leader of man, the guy in the top guy in that organization. I don't want him to, do that. I'd rather see him use his connections that he's made over a dozen seasons in the NFL with his brother Matt and then McVay and Shanahan and land a play caller that he can collaborate with, just like he does in Los Angeles. I think that's his best path to success.
What does it tell you about what people think of him? He got fired from the Jets, who like fired Robert Saleh like the next year. I mean, it's just a disaster. Right. He gets fired from the Jets in 2022, and he immediately becomes equal, and now he doesn't call plays, equal role for Sean McVay. Sean McVay's like, you were fired from Robert Saleh's staff. Come be my OC. It's not like he had to go like repay his dues as a quarterback coach for this franchise or whatever. He literally got fired, and then McVay's like, you're going to come here and be my offensive coordinator. I mean, that tells me that people want him around. People thought he was good. People look at that Jets situation as an anomaly. So, I mean, the cons for Mike LaFleur, and again, they're legitimate, right? He hasn't been a head coach before. You wanted that in this process. He hasn't called plays at a high level. He's relatively young. He's 38 years old. I'm 38 years old. We're the same age. He's accomplished a lot. I've accomplished very little. But in retrospect, like, he is not like the franchise culture builder that we thought they were going to target. But at the same time, those people didn't want the job. Sean McDermott's sitting out. Mike McCarthy's the Steelers coach. Robert Saleh spurned this franchise. So, like, you can't check every box. John Harbaugh, Kevin Stefanski, like, if you're not going to check the culture builder, which I think the Cardinals culture is good. I don't think it's great. If you're not going to check that one, then you're going to check the one of in the division, OC for a play caller and a head coach that's gone 3 for 3 with OCs before. His brother's in the league. Right. Here are the teams he's been with. He's been with the Browns, Falcons, 49ers, Jets, Rams. This would be his 6th franchise. I mean, he's been around the NFL.
Yeah, but it's not just, Browns, Falcons, Niners. It was underneath Shanahan.
Right.
He's cutting his teeth with Shanahan.
He was underneath people who kept getting promoted. So, again, those are the pros and cons. If you've got any additional ones, put them in the chat. And one big pro that we missed is like, this franchise doesn't have a quarterback after Kyler Murray's gone.
Right.
And McVay and Shanahan have both shown an ability to take a Jimmy Garoppolo or Mac Jones this year or whomever. McVay fixed Jared Goff and to turn them into either competent game managers or full-fledged like superstar quarterbacks. That has to matter. And just ask yourself this for everybody who's kind of weighing the decision here. If you're Monti Ossenfort, what do you believe your best chance is to remain employed? Probably going to go with the guy who elevates the most important position in the NFL. Right. Probably going to go with that side of the ball.
Like, leadership is key, no doubt about it, right? But if you can find kind of a level playing field where everybody's equal from leadership qualities and maybe one more so than the other. I mean, we've seen Coach Camp in a room before, and it's electric, no doubt about it. That can't be denied. But what Mike LaFleur could bring, maybe just something close to that, but then also have the ability to tap into where you're going to need to be successful in developing a quarterback in order to find team success. I mean, that's the easier path, no doubt about it. It's not going to have a defensive-minded coach who you're going to have to kind of just in blind faith, expect him to hire the right guy that could be, if he is anything worth himself as an offensive coordinator, could be get plucked from you before you even really get started with the development process at the quarterback spot.
Let's talk more Campanile around the corner. Hit that like button. We're getting to it all. Super chats and more. It's PHNX. Hit that like button for our friends at Game Time. Suns season is going relatively well. I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to get you in for the Suns next home stretch for under $30 with our friends at Game Time. They're offering the lowest NBA tickets down to $25. It's unbelievable. I'm going to tell you right now, Game Time is my go-to ticketing app. If you're not up on the latest trends, we're going to hook you up right now. They've got the zone deals. You can save even more when you just straight up choose a section, and then Game Time is going to choose your seats, and you're going to save money. I'm going to tell you right now, priority fees, I also love this, Bo, are included, because sometimes back in the day when I would go on some of those rival ticketing apps, I would see a number and I'd be like, that looks pretty good. And then I get out to the checkout and it's got a big fat crooked number. And I'm like, this isn't what I signed up for. There's no BS. There's no hassle. There are no schemes with Game Time. What you see is what you get. No surprise fees at checkout. I tell you right now, it's my favorite aspect of it. On top of the seat views, you get a panoramic view to check out your seat in the app before you buy it. They've got the lowest price guaranteed, or they're going to credit you 110%, 110 of the difference every time. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. And it's not just for the NBA. It's not just for sporting events. We got spring training around the corner. We got college hoops. How about concerts coming to Phoenix or the greater Arizona area? It's a call to action right now. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account. Use the bonus code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions apply. Again, PHNX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today.
Quick time out for our friends over at Husband and Wife Law Team. They're on social media. If you're not following them, you're missing out. Oh, no, it's not just boring lawyer content. This is actually good stuff. Mark, Alexis Breyer, somehow they found that sweet spot between being legit attorneys and doing everything they can to get you the results you deserve for your case, and also being extremely online. They're helpful hints, real answers, and of course, levity that can be brought to any situation, even the most serious, which is sometimes necessary. Enough personality to remind you that they're real humans, not just billboards in suits. And that's important, right? Matters, because if you've been in an accident, suffered a serious injury, if you've seen a wrongful death, you don't want just a law firm. You want people you can trust. They've been serving Phoenix for years, decades, raised their family of 8 here, and bring some transparency and straight talk to the cases. No runaround, no phone tag, just real access and real answers. They're specialists in many of the areas that's got them in the 1% of attorneys here in Arizona. So, yeah, check out their social media. But if you actually need them, you already know exactly who you're calling. Give them a call today. Check them out, 602-783-8841. Also, check out the link in the show notes. But I'll tell it to you, husbandandwifelaw.team.com.
That like button, subscribe to PHNX Sports. Let's talk a little Coach Campanile, which I think is the right pronunciation. I think people have kind of been going back and forth on that. I think that's how Mia pronounced his last name. I don't know. That's there right. We go.
I heard Schefter say Campanile. I don't know. I've heard Campanile more often than I've heard Campanile.
I don't.
Coach Camp works for me.
Does it? I was just about to say I don't know. That sounds like, I don't know, small time. Hey, we got Coach Camp here. Okay. I like the full name. I like the gravitas that it brings as a fellow Italian. There it is. Anthony Campanile. I mean, he is somebody that is going to have the edge from a first impression standpoint. Here are his pros. He has been promoted for 3 consecutive years. He calls plays on defense. Mm-hmm. He elevated a historically bad unit in the Jaguars defense in year 1. Those are all pluses. So theoretically, he is a rising star, which we've never disagreed with around the NFL ranks. He is somebody that I think similar to LaFleur, but on the defensive side, you're probably getting them a year early because you're not competing for the Kubiaks or the John Harbaugh. But I think he's somebody that could come in here and I would expect them to have a very good defense under him next season. Yeah. But that's only one side of the ball.
You wouldn't have to get a bunch of wholesale changes to the defense. He could take the current, ball of clay and mold it into something special, just like he did with similar talent the previous season in Jacksonville, as you said, and then turn them into the top run defense, plus take the ball away, second most in the NFL. I mean, that's what he was able to do with very similar parts. And then I think the budding talent that they have here that absolutely needs a lot of help to develop. But guys that they've spent, top draft picks on, Darius Robinson, Walter Nolan, BJ Ojulari, if he can stay healthy, bunch of those corners that they selected later in the draft, like that, you bring in that to create and put in place the defensive structure with somebody like Coach Camp. And I think that would immediately give you to where you would probably have to wait on this with LaFleur, but the defensive identity, which would be maybe a longer play as far as growth as an organization, but I think you would see the other stuff like the culture continue to point in the right direction as far as that arrow goes.
He gives you that edge where you're not going to be afraid to compete.
Right.
And you have to have that. Like, I think rightfully so. There are people who are like, Mike LaFleur knows their processes, but is he going to feel like the little brother of the NFC
He's
West?
not going to be able to lead the charge in the pep rally as much as Camp. I mean, people are going to be like, okay.
Plays, by the way.
Huh?
That stuff plays with people.
It does play. It played with Gannon at first. Like, hey, they aren't winning games, but I like what this guy is saying.
They competed their ass off.
Right. And, Camp could do that before it wears off and the losing just stacks up too much and overlook it. But, yeah, I mean, if it's not all solely based on that. And I think like what LaFleur can do with especially Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, where your offensive line is, and especially with what you don't have at quarterback, trying to kind of juggle all that of an offensive guy probably should get the edge over a defensive guy. Like the defensive guy has to be transcended as far as his ability to lead. It has to be no doubt about it. Like this guy he's going to evolve into what Vrabel has evolved into in New England, where people, if they didn't know he played, linebacker for the Pats during that run, and you wouldn't even know if he was an offensive or defensive guy.
Can I add, so then if I'm sitting there, if I'm Michael Bidwill and Anthony Campanile came in, and we were impressed by him, and I'm sitting there with Monti Ossenfort, and we concluded our meeting with LaFleur, and LaFleur was solid. And Monti Ossenfort's like, man, I just really like what Coach Camp brings to the table. And if I'm Michael Bidwill, wouldn't you say something effective like, well, yeah, we felt this way with Gannon.
Right.
And we just did this. Can you afford to do this again? I think that's a real question to ask. And if you're Monti Ossenfort, you would have to know deep down in your heart of hearts, like, this is not failing. There's no way this is going to fail. Because I'm going to look optics-wise not great when I had 2 shots at this and I hired 2 defensive coaches in an offensive league.
Right.
I don't know how often that happens. I would imagine very little. Same general manager. Like, look at Keim. Arians, Steve Wilkes, Cliff Kingsbury. That's typically how it goes. Offense, defense, offense, right? I'm not saying that's the wrong decision.
Nagy, Flus, Ben Johnson.
It's usually how, and again, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Gannon had, this is going to piss people off, a better resume than Coach Camp. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, he had 2 years as opposed to 1.
He was a defensive coordinator for 2 years, and he was the Super Bowl coordinator and they had a historic defense. He was, I mean, maybe he certainly wasn't, it feels like the motivator, but we know what Gannon's like in a room.
Right.
And how energized I'm sure Bidwill and Ossenfort were. And so I think that if you're Bidwill and you're sitting there and Ossenfort's like, I want to go with Campanile, I think you just have to make sure that you're not in a position to just kind of run it back. Because even if the defense goes from what it was this year closer to what we saw in 2024, you're not going to have Kyler Murray. You could have a bridge quarterback. The division is better, right? Like how quickly can you get this turned around? Go ahead.
That's why these meetings last so damn long.
I know.
I mean, that's why you're meeting with these candidates for a full day. You're putting a full days of work, like 8 hours in,
Right.
having conversations with these guys, and those breakdowns, those forecasting better happen. Like, what's your plan? What's your plan to build a staff?
Here it is, right here. Who's calling the plays on offense?
Right. Exactly. And what's his back? What's his resume? Where's the proof of performance that we can turn to?
What's their coaching tree?
Right.
Is it? I mean, Drew Petzing just got another OC job with the Detroit Lions.
Official.
And then they sounds like Mike Kafka to be their quarterback coach.
All Drew Petzing.
Yeah. They're doing doubling down on Drew.
6
All
foot
the Drews.
That's who Mike Kafka is. A lot of bald heads in that room with Dan Campbell.
I mean, in a league where Nate Shieldhouse, not even a coordinator, 30-year-old wonderkin is going to get a head coaching job. Who's coming here to call plays for you? That's a concern for me, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, Bo, I know of like 5 guys that could be this LaFleur's DC. 3 to 5. I mean, the guys we've heard that could be Campanile's offensive coordinator, maybe Thomas Brown.
Well, yeah, it's tough. It is way tough.
It's really tough. It's an offensive league, and your division excels at offense. I think the division defensively, like Cardinals scored some points against the Rams at the end of the year. The Niners are not going to be good defensively next year.
Yeah.
And then, we'll see what happens with Seattle. They're very good, but they were susceptible to offense yesterday. You don't have a quarterback, so I get leaning into a defensive guy. And I was pro doing it with Saleh, because Saleh, I believe, is a better DC than this Anthony Campanile is, and he's been a head coach before, and he's in the division. That was a special circumstance. That
right. And he would come over. He hurdles VJ. He hurdles Morris.
He hurdles LaFleur for
Weaver, because he did it like his defenses immediately. No matter what is like Saleh, no matter what the personnel were effective, got off the field and did things at about the highest level you can do it.
You knew you were getting that. And then, oh, by the way, he's been in this division and could hopefully pick the staffs and get more OCs, more coordinators to come here. But Saleh didn't want the job. So now it's like, we'll put a ball on this before we take a break. Monti Ossenfort, is it fair to say like that he has a type?
Yeah.
His type is Saleh, Campanile, Jonathan Gannon, Michael Bidwill. I see something on Twitter where it's like, and people have asked me what I thought of this. I just don't think it's true. We're like, Bidwill's pushing for LaFleur and Ossenfort wants to hire Campanile. I'm like, well, no, this is Monty's hire.
Right.
Michael Bidwill is very impressionable with, like, this is like the wrong word, but like leaders of men. That's what Michael Bidwill likes. We know that for a fact. He doesn't want another Cliff Kingsbury. So if anything, it would be Ossenfort that's like, we got to get an offensive guy, Mr. Bidwill, and we got to be able to compete in this division. Let's get this guy. Michael Bidwill does not want another Cliff Kingsbury. Doesn't want another passive leader of men. I do believe that's why he likes Vance Joseph, because Vance was overpowered Cliff as the leader in that locker room at times. I like the fact that, like, he prefers LaFleur. Michael Bidwill wants somebody to come in and have the command of the team. But in a perfect world, you merge that person with somebody who can get your quarterback and offense fixed.
Yeah, I'm hard pressed to believe that, like, with the lack of stuff that has leaked out of there, that the general manager and the owner that are left in here, it's very definitive that here they are in this, one wants this and the other wants that. Like, that seems like it's too dramatized, sensationalized for me to actually like buy into it.
The only thing I've ever heard about him is just like they want somebody that can come in and lead a locker room. I mean, like, Michael Bidwill is in the locker room after games. Even though they don't do any footage behind the scenes because they always lose games. So they're probably like, what's the point? He's in the locker room and he wants to see somebody command. Like, I'm sure Michael Bidwill's perfect coach would be like Dan Campbell, the alpha guy. And I mean, there's some similarities with Camp, but you got your ass whooped in this division 6 times this year. In the second half, bad.
Right.
Regardless of who leads who or who does what, that and those 3 teams where we make an argument outside of Chicago, the 3 best teams in the conference, and then there's your carcass laying on the ground.
Right.
That to me is where you're just like, even if LaFleur is not the perfect solution, I feel like that has to be the play. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm wrong all the time. I don't know.
Let's start to look more towards Mike LaFleur, Arizona Cardinals' next head coach, staff options, what also this roster could look like, all that more as we continue on here. PHNX Cardinals, it's Bo, it's Johnny.
How about our friends at Bet365? I don't mean to toot my own horn, but beep, beep, toot, toot. Your boy went 3 for 3 on conference weekend. I said, swallow the points with Seattle. I said, I like the Broncos to cover plus 3.5. And of course, the coup de grace, the chef's kiss, my first bet that I put into my parlay, that sweet, sweet Drake May anytime tutty paid out plus 1,800 for the boys and girls at home that rolled with your boy. We dominated the conference championship game. We're going to dominate the big game. And there's plenty of good stuff. Check out our friends at Bet365. In the meantime, NBA hoops. We got tip-off Tuesdays. We got NHL action. All that and more. You're going to get hooked up right now with our friends at Bet365. It's breaking news. Everybody thinks, the NFL season is winding down. There's not many offers to get. That's hogwash because new customers right now are going to get $200, $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. Again, sign up. Use the bonus code PHNX365. All you got to do, like $10 in your deposit, place a $5 bet, win or lose. You don't even flip and have to win it, and you get those 200 in bonus bets instantly. You don't even have to wait for your bet to cash out. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary with Bet365. I believe the coaching odds for certain Arizona marquee name are down to minus 200. So I hope you got it like one of our faithful viewers at plus 1,100 for old Mike LaFleur just a couple of weeks ago. You got to be 21 years and older, physically located in Arizona. If you were somebody new knows a gambling problem wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov, Bo, for more info.
If you know me, if you know this show, you know that we like a good night out at Gila. Great shows, great food, and of course, the whole treat yourself vibe. Who doesn't like that? Now we're taking it up a notch. Gila River Resorts and Casinos is bringing Vegas vibes straight to Phoenix with the Vegas residency happening now through April. Check it out. Think exclusive concerts, extended DJ sets, showgirls, chef-driven dining, pop-up bars, surprise cameos, the whole Vegas energy without the travel, without hopping on a plane. And while you're there, don't forget about the fabulous Corvette giveaway. That's right. 4 casinos, 4 vets, 4 chances to win big. That's January 16th through April 24th at Wild Horse Pass, Lone Butte, Bequeva, and Santan Mountain. Play the card on Fridays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for bonus entries at Hot Seat Chances. And yes, there's swag too. Check this out. The grand finales wrap up April 27th through the 30th. You could land yourself a vet while enjoying all the amenities, all the great perks of visiting one of the many Gila River resorts and casinos around the valley. You bring you. They'll bring Vegas. You do you. Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playathila.com. That's GILA.com for full calendars and details.
Mike LaFleur, he's here in Arizona now, and he'll be here tomorrow. So we're going to operate under the impression that he is the next head coach of this team. Again, nothing's done until it's done. The Mike McCarthy announcement showcased that over the weekend. But you bring a guy in for 2 days. I mean, they're meeting with him for 2 days. He's here today. And the rap sheet specifically said that. It's not like he's arriving today and then they're going to meet tomorrow. It's like, no, he's here today and they're hanging out, and they're hanging out tomorrow. I would expect, if you ask me, like, Johnny, put your mortgage on it, I would assume tonight they're going out to eat, and tomorrow they're ironing out his coaching staff and continue the formal interviews, talking numbers, that kind of thing. And I think they want to have a quick turnaround. The NFL they want all these coaching, as you said earlier, Schefter, they want all this done by, I think this, the big game coming up. So, anytime you do 2 days with anybody after we know you have an affinity for that person, like that's the front runner.
Yeah, I would probably expect some white smoke to come out of the facilities chimney tomorrow afternoon. There's a new head coach that's been hired for the Arizona Cardinals.
With a presser Wednesday, you think?
Probably. I mean, that's how it felt like the Gannon thing went down. But that was the finishing touches on the season have been made. Maybe it's a little bit different, but Saleh was supposed to have his introductory presser in Nashville, and they got hit by that storm. And there's hundreds of thousands of people without power right now, so they're not going to do it until later this week. The Cardinals, I don't know what would delay it as far as LaFleur, unless they really want him to have everything locked up to force. What's that?
Well, Walker's saying the report says he's flying in tonight and interviewing tomorrow. Here's the rap sheet report.
Right.
Mike LaFleur is scheduled to meet with the Arizona Cardinals for a second in-person interview today and tomorrow.
Right.
To say. So Walker, I thought the same thing because I was on the Peloton fumbling through posting this on PHNX Cardinals, and I was like, oh, the interview's tomorrow. And then I had to reread it because a bunch of people are like, no, didn't it also say today? And it said today.
Yeah. What's there to test? I mean, the speed test is fine. It probably passed with flying colors. No, I mean, it was different. Like Coach Camp, there was last week, he was going to travel today and he's going to interview tomorrow. This was, it's 2 days.
I mean, why, because respectfully, that tweet from Rap Sheet, which Rap Sheet breaks all the Cardinal news.
Right.
We know that.
It's just like when, remember Woj, old NBA reporter? Yeah. The NBA got fed up with him breaking draft picks before they happen. And he would just he would say they're drafting this player, but they would say it and he would use different language, more colorful language. And now that's what this is to me.
Yeah. And the Cardinals gave him that language, by the way. That was my point. Well, no, the Cardinals are telling him it's a 2-day interview. Getting that on his own, he's making that up.
Right.
The Cardinals are not, I don't think it's like copy and paste the tweet, although we've seen some copy and pasting over the last couple months. I think it's Mike LaFleur is here and we're interviewing him today and we're interviewing him tomorrow.
It's like a humble brag.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I think it is. Exactly.
It is. It's like, going away this weekend, getting a nice suite
for 2 nights.
That's right. Maybe also a nice romantic view. I guess you could say it's pretty serious. Yeah, I mean, that's what that tweet really kind of.
Well, can I say something? And let's jump into his staff here in a second. This franchise 2 weeks ago, there were people on the internet that did not think Mike LaFleur would take this job. The same people that are knocking Mike LaFleur now, I just noticed it because it was happening before the show, are the same people that said, LaFleur, nobody from this division is taking that job. And now people are like, Mike LaFleur stinks. I'm like, well, which is it?
Right.
Is he bad? I thought the Rams offense looked pretty good yesterday. I don't know. They moved the ball whenever they wanted to. Give me some of that. Even if it's guilty by association. That works with McVay. I just can't believe we're sitting here and we have people who are like, he's bad. He's going to fail. The same exact people, and you know who you are on Twitter, were saying the Cardinals are a horrible franchise. He's going to decline their interview. Shut your mouths. You know who you are. You were saying that on Twitter. No NFL insiders. I'm talking about the people who pretend to be fans of this franchise. It's an embarrassment.
Right. It is. Right. They just love to pile on. It's a tradition unlike any other to just bag on the Cardinals. Yeah. They are who they are. Sell the team, this and that. Nobody wants to be here. The worst of all the teams. Nobody wants to coach here. Nobody wants to play here, this and that. And
right.
Like every Sunday you're tuned in, you're following along to everybody.
You're watching the show.
Yeah.
Doing this on your phone. It's like, appreciate it. Appreciate the subscribe. Appreciate the comments and the likes down below.
Right.
Like you can be upset with the franchise. This is worked out. Things are going well. I don't know if they're going to nail this, but they have options here. They're not the Browns today, who might have to turn back to Jim Schwartz. It's just like, you would have thought, based on snark Twitter 2.5 weeks ago, that the Cardinals should fold as a franchise.
Right.
This podcast held them accountable, but also we didn't wave the white flag saying, you might as well just not even exist, right? Don't even bother showing up for work tomorrow.
It's an idiotic take. It lacks logic when you look at the NFL. Like the worst team in the NFL is still a really good job as far as just the landscape of sports, as far as being a coach.
Right.
If you are Mike LaFleur and you did have a failed stint like what she does in New York with the Jets, you know that it's going to be an uphill climb. You're not going to have your pick of the litter as far as jobs. Same thing goes for most of the candidates out there not named John Harbaugh during this coaching cycle. So to say, like, turn your nose up at the Arizona Cardinals for most of these guys, it lacks logic. It's just this, you can't be picky and choosy because of the point that was so well made by our guy, Ari Merov, who joined us last week.
Yes.
Byron Leftwich and Adrian Wilson seemed like they were locks to be a Jacksonville Jaguars new dynamic duo. One insider was trying to push that and was wrong on it. But they looked like they were going to be there. And then the next thing you know, they're nowhere to be found. Byron Leftwich is in Colorado. He's coaching college. And Adrian Wilson, unfortunately, isn't in the league any longer. Things change quickly in the NFL. You can be at the top of the league. You can be one of the top candidates. You have 5 interviews during a coaching cycle. And the next coaching cycle, your phone doesn't get a single text or call from anybody making any decisions around the league.
There's nobody that should know that better than the Rams coordinators. Chris Shula is poisoned now. Nobody will talk to him this week. And Mike LaFleur got fired by the Jets. It's like, they're not going to even interview with the Cardinals. Nah. It's just like, what are you talking about? It's okay, Twitter, to want a candidate, and if it doesn't work out, be disappointed by that. What's not okay is to let everybody know that because you're going to pout and moan because they don't hire your candidate, that everybody else stinks and is unqualified. You're telling me right now you wouldn't be cool with the offensive coordinator from the team that almost won the NFC, that has run roughshod over this team and this division for the better part of half a decade, and that the track record of offensive coordinators coming from Sean McVay is not just a success, an overwhelming success, 3 for 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just worth comparing to where, like, hey, Cardinals are going to have to hire somebody from the MAC conference to that. Let's be serious. All right, let's talk. Sorry, I had to go on that rant because it just infuriates me. We were like, there are people in this market. It's going to be Vance. Don't even bother showing up to Twitter work today. And it's just like, now it's like, you can't even be happy when it's like, it's a good, solid candidate here.
It's Mike LaFleur couldn't even be successful with Zach Wilson and Josh Johnson, Joe Flacco, Mike White, all taking snaps at quarterback with his top receivers, of course, Braxton Berrios and Jamison Crowder, those two juggernauts of catching the football in the league, plus the running back tandem of Michael Carter and Ty Johnson. What? Mike LaFleur couldn't make that work? That guy sucks.
The NFL snuffs out frauds quicker than any industry. If Mike LaFleur couldn't hang, then Sean McVay would cut his ass loose in 18 months.
Right.
I mean, like, he obviously is good enough to impress the 2 best offensive coaches, arguably, in the NFL, and has been a part of their infrastructure forever. I don't know if he can lead a program. I don't know if he's any good. But given where this franchise is, I'm okay with them rolling the dice.
Right. But they want to recycle a guy that's already been here before, where you saw he had a prominent role in the organization. At the best, they were mid. They had a wild card appearance. You want to just, because there's a tie that they know the owner definitively likes and respects the guy, that's got to be the odds-on favorite. It's lazy. It's not putting in the work for the fan base that is desperately asking for something better, a different,
new, fresh perspective. Like, Campanile still gives you that, no doubt. And certainly LaFleur does.
He gives you it's the unknown, sure. Which grass isn't always greener on the other side, but at least you don't know like pretty well that this is how it's going to turn out. This is how it would be turned. This here's something you've seen this before. This is what it was okay. That's the ceiling of it, but we're going to give it to you because it's going to make us feel comfortable about it. We're going to sleep easy.
Bidwill would kill to have 8 to 10 win year continuity. Who can just get me to just a good product every year? We might take our lumps some years. We might have good years where we pop and we're hosting playoff games. Who can keep us? We're an hour and I'm going to say this. Who can keep us out of the shitter? Who can keep us out of 3-win seasons? As a franchise, you have to learn to level up. It's not realistic to say, I'm going to go from 3 wins to 13 wins. The Patriots can do that because they're the Patriots. They have an elite owner, infrastructure, and they got Mike Vrabel because he played there and he wanted to coach there and he had a resume. Cardinals don't have that. Your quickest way of doing that is, okay, I'm going to look at the ingredients of what's working coming out of this division, and there's one thing that points to it, and it's the offensive coordinators for the Rams become successful NFL head coaches, point blank, can't be argued. And this guy wants to take our job, and this guy wants to interview with us, and this guy may allow us, as we're going to get into it finally, to hire an experienced defensive coordinator? Could this be the better version of Cliff and Vance?
Yeah.
I mean, like, they're a quarterback away if they go with LaFleur and Raheem Morris from having stability.
Yeah, it's kind of disrespectful to call like LaFleur Cliff back in 2019. I mean, Cliff was coming from Texas, failing at Texas Tech.
Just getting fired, yeah.
Just getting fired from his alma mater. Like, and I know Cliff has come a long way. He's going to be a highly coveted offensive play caller.
He's a different guy now, for sure.
But this, especially with the connections, like LaFleur is now 12 seasons into being in the NFL. 12. We've ripped off all the organizations, the coaches he's coached under Shanahan and McVay, work with Saleh, his brother's Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
Like he should be able to put a staff together. Now you got to ask yourself, like, okay, who's going to give him the best shot? If he's the offensive guy, whether he's the play caller or not, or he empowers somebody else to be the play caller on that side of the football, I still would like somebody for him to collaborate with there. It's not like just it's Cliff and a quarterback's coach. It's got to be somebody like LaFleur is now, where it's got the title, and you know he's going to have some fallbacks, a safety net there. Defensively, it's LaFleur and then Raheem Morris, LaFleur and Anthony Weaver, LaFleur or Nick Rollis. Those seem to be the most realistic options.
You know, I was going through the Rams staff today because I can't wait to pick that bone clean, like the buzzards in the old Disney movies. I just want to go to work on the Rams staff.
Which would be great, but still, like, I would still bet on McVay. He's such a sicko.
Well, sure, but like, can we slow him down for God's sakes? So I don't think that Justin Fry will be presented to either coach. Do you want to keep Justin Fry? I would. I think he got better as the year went on. I thought the offensive line improved as the year went on. You're going to have a right tackle, and Justin Fry was a hot commodity. Ben Johnson wanted Justin Fry. What does that tell you? So I would look at, for play callers, receiver coaches for the Rams, receiver coaches for the Niners, assistant offensive line coaches, quarterback coaches. I would. That's where I would start. I can't pretend like I have a bunch of names, but I would have confidence that LaFleur could get somebody in that shares the same ideology. That's the biggest thing too. Is Gannon wanted to do what Petsy was doing. Like that can't be disputed. I would get texts all year from people close to the situation saying people are getting pissed at Drew, but like this is the offense Gannon wants to run. But then the problem becomes that he can't challenge Drew on it because he's a defensive guy. Whereas LaFleur, if the offense isn't producing, that's his baby. They can work on it together simultaneously. And then on the flip side, you're going to get Raheem Morris, who I thought did a nice job this year with Atlanta's defense with a bunch of young players. And you're going to say, Raheem Morris, don't worry about handling everything administrative. You're just fixing this defense. I think you do a pretty good job. I know people are nitpicking his numbers with the Rams. I'm like, guys, like he was good enough with the Rams that they won a bunch of games, that they went to the playoffs. Like, he's not Vic Fangio. Of course not. He's not, Robert Saleh. Those guys are head coaches, and Vic Fangio's grandfathered in. It's all like if Raheem Morris can come here and take a defense that was like the fourth worst in the NFL to top 15 next year, guess what? That's a flipping win. I saw people nitpicking Raheem. Oh, he's only around 10th or 12th or whatever. I'm like, guys, you have to keep it in context of the franchise that we cover and that we follow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the defense outright won them the Super Bowl, right? I know they've got Aaron Donald taking over them. That plays a big part in it. But
you got to have players.
You got to have players. And they should have enough players on that side of the football where they should be in the top half of the league.
I'm not talking top 10. Raheem Morris immediately next year.
Right. And you saw that with what him and Ulbrich were doing in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Take that. And plus he's got the head, whether it's Morris or another former head coach, like to give LaFleur that sounding board in the room throughout the season is something they didn't have the last 3 years when things would go south. And that's so important. Something they lacked when they're going bad down the stretch at the end of the 2024 season. They didn't have somebody to give. And I know advice isn't everything, but it would help to pull you out of a nosedive.
Well, Bo, and isn't that the biggest thing here? And isn't that if you're Bidwill sitting with Monti? Last year, we had a bunch of injuries that turned our season from disappointing to disaster. But who can pull a Mike McDonald or a Raheem Morris and allow us to stabilize?
Right.
Jonathan Gannon didn't have that on the offense. If you hire Anthony Campanile and you have injuries next year, who is that guy on offense? Right. Who is available that's an ex-head coach that can come in here, or at the very least, like a prominent OC that could come in here and help stabilize? Like you would have to get a Brian Dable or somebody like that. You'd be talking to those people already. You would be trying to, maybe that's Joe Brady. Joe Brady hasn't been a head coach before. The puzzle pieces here are blatantly obvious. And even Xavier Weaver can come in here, or Anthony Weaver, excuse me. I'm thinking of the ex-Cardinal, can come in here and say
let's not cut him already.
I'm sorry. Anthony Weaver can come in here and say oh yeah, we were flailing around last year with the Dolphins and we turned it around. And here's how we did it. I just think the window dressing of a LaFleur staff right now has much more upside to the window dressing of a Campanile staff. A Campanile staff, if you hire him tomorrow and we get that announcement tomorrow, the immediate question is going to become, who is he filling his staff out with in this division? That's already going to be, whereas we already can speculate who LaFleur would target.
Yeah. And you can just easily pinpoint 3 staffs that he's going to have his eyes set on.
Yeah.
Or it's Green Bay, LA, San Francisco. LA, there might not be enough even left to pick through.
Right. Yeah.
Fieldhouse might be in Cleveland. We'll see. Maybe even, higher than that. Buffalo.
People were nitpicking Raheem Morris. Here are the defensive stats, I think, for Atlanta this year. They finished as the top defense in the league in terms of total yards allowed. They set a single season franchise record with 57 sacks. I'm trusting Google for this.
Yeah.
Rookies, Jalen Walker and James Pierce became immediate contributors, and safety Xavier Watts had a strong rookie season. So they're playing 5 rookies. And, obviously their defensive coordinator, who we love, who they kept in Atlanta, played a part in this. But Atlanta had one of the best defenses in the NFL this year. Why would you think Raheem Morris is going to come here and the defense not be at least respectable? That's what you have to assess. If Monti Ossenfort, you have to be living I got 2 years left. I got 2 years to figure this out. What's the quickest way to viability? Get an OC from McVay, get the offense on the right track where I could take a Kirk Cousins or Jimmy Garoppolo or a rookie, and I can game manage my way to 9 wins, and I'm going to get an ex-head coach to come run my defense and immediately turn that around.
Right.
That is just much easier to sell
than
I'm going to get a DC that I like, who's a leader of men, And we just did that, and it
a
failed.
longer way to go. It's just a longer way to go.
I'm not saying it's the wrong decision.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, when you just, it's like this is what this show does. We just present facts and we talk it out and we try to use optics and we don't guess and we don't piggyback. And most of the time, it's the most logical answer.
But if you were to take LaFleur, who just came off of a 3-year successful stint working and collaborating with McVay,
right,
and then you take a DC who worked 3 years on the defensive side of the football, working, collaborating with Sean McVay,
right,
I think people would sign up for that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can't believe some people are like, that's not good enough. All right. Super chats. We got 40 plus. We got 1,000 people watching live. We'll go all night. I mean, I've been waiting for this podcast all day.
Why about the actual hire? Just think about how hard that's going to hit. You think we got a coach at this time tomorrow?
Let me ask you. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I did.
Let me ask you a question. If they pull a fast one and they hire Anthony Campanile, if we get that announcement, what is your immediate reaction going to be?
I mean, I really like Coach Camp. Like at some points, like even before like this LaFleur thing took off, the idea of Anthony Campanile being the Arizona Cardinals head coach, I got excited about it. I think he brings a lot of juice.
Yeah.
But like obviously with all these guys, it depends on who he can build his staff with. Who's going to be his OC, right? There's not going to be not a certain like high level of concern with either one of these guys until they start to fill out their coaching staff with guys that are going to instill confidence. So, I mean, I just think that it is a longer road to success, and you're probably trying to give yourself a little bit longer leash too, which I don't think Monti Ossenfort has the luxury of.
No.
That the smarter bet would be the offensive guy just in the modern day football. So I as much as I would embrace it, I still think that probably LaFleur is the smarter bet.
My immediate reaction would be that Campanile was undeniable in the interview, and he stole the job from Mike LaFleur. That they had every intention to hire Mike LaFleur, and they went through 2 days with him and they liked him, but they just couldn't get Campanile out of their mind. And if that's the case, then go with your gut, go with your heart in this industry. Right. If you're Monti Ossenfort, you're going with your gut this offseason because you're going to, give away Kyler Murray too. So
with Camp though, and like your identity is defense, and that's fine. Like I think Camp provides your quickest identity.
Yeah.
But in the long run, is that going to play? Because you still got the offense is going to be one of those things that people are going to be very uneasy about.
Well, and you lost games this year early,
right?
Allowing like 16 points per game for a while.
But you would have your identity. You a guy that can win the press conferences, right? Like you have all that, like chief vibes officer right there, Coach Camp.
You have the content from now until training camp.
But could you produce the results? That's like the waiting game that I don't know if you have the ability to play out here with the fan base.
Also, like, what if it looks bad quick?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like suddenly now the F-bombs seem kind of effed up. I hope not, though. Everything tells me that guy's going to be an impressive head coach at some point. And maybe that point is tomorrow. All right, we're going to go through the super chats. And then Bo and I are going to give our official predictions of who's getting this job.
Okay.
44 super chats. God, I love all of you so much. Hit that like button. We are almost to 50,000 subscribers. We're like 700 and some change. Get us there. Bo and I and Noah are headed to the Super Bowl a week from Monday, and I'm excited for you guys to see the guest list that's en route.
All right, let's kick it off here. First super chat. Bees. OC head coach play caller value is not being hired away.
Yeah, Bees basically pointing out that like Kevin O'Connell could lose Brian Flores, but he hasn't yet. Why hasn't he? Right? Like that's a perfect example. Like Brian Flores, is he ever getting a head job again? Steve Spagnuolo, Vic Fangio, Vance Joseph now.
Right.
How many? Those are 4 examples I just named off the top of my head. Those guys are locked and loaded. They're never leaving.
What was this the same super chat that Bees put in on Saturday?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Bees. We appreciate you. You're the man. Keeping it going with these super chats, 50 of them. How about Shaft, $10? Rams loss is our game. Time to go all in on Mike LaFleur, head coach. Raheem Morris is DC. And before anyone else steals him, Mike needs to ask Nate Shieldhouse to come and be his OC. Good staff. Otherwise, it's camp.
I love that. I would think Shieldhouse, if he doesn't get a head job, which feels like is a lock now, would go back to the Rams to be their OC.
Right.
But I would trade that for Chris Shula remaining with the Rams, and you have an opportunity to hire Raheem Morris. The biggest thing for me is like if they hire LaFleur tomorrow, and there are people who like the hire, but they're like, how quickly can the Cardinals move on to DC? And how quickly can that perception of be like super staff come together? Because I think that is big optics here.
Mm-hmm.
I think you would lose some of the mojo if you're like, we're gonna just go through our process and then they go to the back of the line again and they can't get any of these DCs. Like that would be a tough look. And then you have the Nick Wallace element. That'll be fascinating to watch.
Yeah. Keeping it going with Jenga Man is up here with the super chats. How about, Calvin Montgomery? Don't like the Michael LaFleur talk to Arizona. What exactly does he do for the Rams offense when McVay runs it himself? It's discount hired to excite fans. Feels like Kingsbury all over again. Hashtag Kubiak.
Kubiak is not in contention for this job because he basically is not interested. I got a text from the same person who told me that LaFleur is the front runner, told me that the Cardinals love Kubiak. How could you not?
Mm-hmm.
That it's a hope and a prayer. And this week you can't screw around waiting for him. I don't even know if he's got a second interview scheduled yet with the Raiders. He's on his own timeline right now.
The only teams he could interview with are the Cardinals and Raiders, right? So it seems like he's narrowed it down to either Raiders or
pull Gannon and just tell the Bills, like, I'll see you after the Super Bowl.
Or he could just take, being the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league. That also is in play. Seattle wants to keep him.
He could be the Ben Johnson of next year, which would suck. I don't want him back, but
right.
I mean, like, you watched that last night with him scheming plays open for JSN. Like, when's the last time we've seen that in Arizona? Good God.
Wide open.
Marv's wide open. Trey, Michael. He undressed Chris Shula. That was one of the best offensive game plans I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Seattle's defense looked like Arizona's defense.
Yeah, he made Shula look so bad. The Steelers was like, man, that interview sucked. Maybe it wasn't that bad. They just watched the game.
They watched it in the future because they made that decision Saturday. They knew that was going to happen.
What else we got for super chats? Keeping it going. How about what's up? Calvin, Raheem won't matter. Vance didn't save Cliff.
Well, Raheem won't make the hire or break the hire. Mike LaFleur needs to be good. He has to have the goods.
Yeah, he's got to stand on his own.
Right.
As most head coaches have to.
Yeah. Trenton Smith, $20. Thank you so much, Trenton. We've got a bunch of generous super chats here. Yeah, let's get to Trenton. For those worried about Mike LaFleur not calling plays under McVay, I read something earlier that said Liam Cohen, Kevin O'Connell, and Matt LaFleur never called plays either. And now look at them. Cards need to hire him ASAP. Well, Liam Cohen didn't call plays, wanted to call plays, and then went to Tampa Bay and proved it. But he also had a stable franchise with Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans. And then I believe that Matt LaFleur was the OC for the Rams, left and then became the Titans OC, and then got the Packer job. So, and then Kevin O'Connell straight up never called plays.
Yeah.
So there's a track record here for him to have success. This is not an outlier situation at all.
Mm-hmm. Keeping it going here with the super chats. How about just throw it up there for me? No,
yeah, I got you $20.
Yeah, Reese, another $20. Really hope we get LaFleur, pair him with Francis or Fano. How about trade up to get Ty Simpson? I don't know why fans were not high on him, as he had 2 bad games against tough defenses. He would succeed with weapons in LaFleur.
I love that idea. I would probably go with. Are the tackles the consensus like better prospects than the edge rushers? We'll have to see.
I don't know, man. I know that Daniel Jeremiah put out his first mock draft today. He had Fano going 3, and then the Titans take Mowaga 4, fourth overall, so directly behind him. So, but he's got the Utah tackle ahead of the Miami tackle.
Who went second overall? Reese.
Yes, he didn't have Bain going until 9.
Yeah, Bain's numbers are going to really kind of make his case, but I mean, like
Bain had something like 80 plus pressures this year. He might even 90.
I like him more than Reese. I don't think my opinion is going to change. I didn't see Reese when I watched Ohio State.
Reese was primarily off ball, and that there's like this idea he's going to play edge full time at the next level, and it's just like
that scares me.
That's worked once, right? Hasn't that just worked once?
Micah. I mean, the kid we were just talking about with the Falcons that went right before Arizona last year. What was
Jalen Walker?
Yeah,
and he did well.
I mean, he wasn't as good as James Pierce Jr., which we said, because James Pierce Jr. was a true edge rusher.
Right.
Coach Mike LaFleur joining us in the chat today. Good Lord. Great to see you, Mike. Speaking of the future, 199, I'm excited to coach this team. Let's go Bird Gang. Hopefully that's not a jinx account. Thank you, Coach. Good to see you. Welcome to the Valley. Rickorous, $5. Today, interview with LaFleur tells me Bidwill and Ossenfort won't let him leave the building. What say you, JV and Bo? Bo, what say you?
I've got a good feeling on that one as well. It makes the most sense to me.
What do you think about people still saying that Campanile is the favorite? I don't know how you would know that. How would you decipher that?
Yeah, I don't know where you would get that based off just gut. You're just going gut feeling on that. You just like the guy. You like the cut of his jib. You love this Hard Knocks viral moment. And you want that for your team. And I get that. But I don't know why they would have just waited around. Like how many of these teams that have hired already, like just decided, okay, well, we're going to wait for the coordinator. They didn't. They hired the guy
Mike McCarthy, they could have hired this Friday instead of last week. And they could have interviewed Chris Shula today. But they're like, we love Mike. We want to hire Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
This is the guy they've been waiting on.
Yeah. Thank you, Rick Torius. How about Jenga Man? We get to witness the Incompetence Bowl 2 times a year. Lions versus Packers. Stoppable force versus immovable object. Thank God we are free. Let's finish strong.
Gannon versus
the new coordinators in the NFC North.
Can I say something? I posted on Twitter earlier.
Yeah.
Mike LaFleur takes this job, then you'll know, and I believe this already, Jonathan Gannon did not go to Green Bay and tell Matt and they think they all have the same agent or close to it.
Yeah.
In the same, they all talk. We talked about that with the NFC West ties. Gannon didn't rip this franchise.
No.
Gannon didn't badmouth this franchise. I hope genuinely that Jonathan Gannon crushes it and becomes a head coach again.
It's going to have the talent to do so up in Green Bay.
Do you think he'll be like, hey, remember that time that we let you single blocked? What do you think about that? He'd probably be like,
they're scheming for the Lions twice next year. Like, hey, Mike, hopefully Drew prepares for you like he did when I was coaching for the Cardinals.
Loved it.
Jonah Williams makes his way to Detroit.
Or Tip's traded to Detroit. Just Tip on Micah. Gannon's like, I know this.
What do we think? Tip for Tesla? Let's start drawing up the trade proposals right now.
I would take Tip for a lot of stuff. Doc Miles 89 was tweeting Albright, and his new take is AZ no longer have interest in Vance now. My take is that I think Benjamin Albright is awesome, and he's a great insider, and he might have been a little too close to this situation this time around. Would be my take. I thought that bringing back the reports from 2023, I thought it just felt so similar where people were like, they're going to hire Vance. And it's just like, no, they're not. They're not doing that.
Let's lock in on some of these super chats. You guys are unbelievable. How about Sully? Do we really need offensive line at pick 3? We had a top unit with Clayton Adams. Get offensive line in free agency and draft Bain, or trade back for Love to help whoever the quarterback is.
We have already a franchise left tackle. Yeah, I would go if Bain is equal to a tackle. I would take Bain. We'll know who's the higher prospect.
Some talented tackles, offensive linemen in free agency this year. You could revamp it that way. I know people talk about their cap situation. They can get over $50 million in available cap space pretty easily with some savvy moves.
We'll know, Solly, if they sign a tackle, we'll know that they won't take one.
Exactly. Yeah. Ranger, $20. Ranger, always generous. Love him. How about hope we get LaFleur, head coach Morris, DC, and draft tackle Moaga. Spent most of last year's draft on defense.
I mean, if Moaga is a franchise change, but the problem is, could you go to the Jets? I think you almost have to take a tackle in free agency, but LaFleur and Morris DC, then you immediately could just go BPA. I think with Campanile, might have to lean on the offense because he's going to elevate the defense, and you might just meet straight up better players on offense.
I mean, yeah, Bain is so tough, especially after what happened with Will Anderson. And I know like so many people want to just throw away Paris Johnson Jr. I don't. I like having a franchise left tackle. Plus, sure, the picks haven't panned out, but getting those picks was so important for this team in a rebuild. But they always want to just be like, Will Anderson is so good.
I think he's good in part because of who's coaching him too.
Yeah. All right, my guy Greg Hanlon, Mike LaFleur looking like J.J. Watt on Ozempic.
Wow, haven't heard that take before. That's interesting. I mean, listen, he's in shape. We keep it in the trend of like Gannon was in shape. LaFleur is in shape. We see his brother at the combine every year. He's freaking chiseled out of the stone. So
well. How about a guy, Kyle Haley? He's been a member for 4 months.
Kyle, one of our best community members. Thank you, Kyle.
What's Johnny and Bo? How true it is that Monty wants Anthony Campanile and Bidwill wants Michael LaFleur?
You know what's great about that is that no one will ever know whether it's true or not. So there's a safety in posting something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, put your name out there and say like, I think this is going to happen. It's like, oh, okay. Just taking a shot, trusting your source. But you put something out there like that, it's like you can always just carve the narrative. Like, oh, see.
No, there aren't any other things that have been put out there, but there's that. There's no other news, but that's what's coming from inside behind the curtain. Like everything else is tight to the vest, but somehow that trickles out. This like Monty and Bidwill, like this, just right down there between two candidates.
Like we had the LaFleur front runner, and then it was backed up by national media people a couple hours later.
Mm-hmm.
I would still stand on that. He's a front runner, clearly, but those you can craft a tweet in a certain way where it's just you cover your ass either way. Deborah gifted 5 PHNX Sports memberships. Thank you so much, Deborah. Appreciate you. Deborah on Twitter. Can't wait to see it hopefully this offseason or draft party, Deb.
No doubt about it. I saw our sales staff working on draft party already. Getting excited about it. Keeping it going. How about Antoine B? Greetings from Quebec, Canada.
Greetings.
I'm shoveling snow in the Siberian level cold. I've been to Arizona 4 times, and I wish I could be there right now. Thanks for the great work, guys.
Thank you so much for that. And yeah, I feel for my brothers and sisters dealing with inclement weather. We don't have that here, but Bo and I are familiar with it, and it sucks.
I was just in the snow for like 24 hours. I feel like we're brethren right now.
No, what you did and what they're doing. You treat it like, I'm going to play with some snow over the weekend.
Right.
For fun, and then I get to
completely safe roads up there in Flagstaff. Yeah. I'm just cruising, just real comfortably down the road. And Antoine's out there just breaking his back, shoveling. We're pulling for you. Ranger trying to up Deb. What the hell? I love this type of competitive nature. 10 PHNX sports supporter memberships. Unbelievable.
Thank you so much, Ranger. We appreciate you and your commitment to this community. And hopefully everybody who got gifted a membership from Deborah Ranger considers sticking around. We would love to have you. Cal, $5. Wish Kubiak was our front runner because yesterday and this past year's work was beautiful. No pushback there. No. Imagine how Wilson McBride, MHJ would be. Our situation is trash. Our quarterback situation is less optimal, but I mean, Kubiak, we know they like him. How can you not like him? I mean, and Mike McDonald, I mean, Bo liked that hire before the beginning of the year. You pointed that out. You said, I think Klint Kubiak will do a good job. And it was really all on Darnold. So Darnold was straight up a free agent, and Klint Kubiak was just straight up available after he got blown out at New Orleans. So guys, good candidates become available.
Mike McDonald, just him not settling for that performance. Man, does he look like a genius. Cut bait on Geno, him and John Schneider.
See ya.
Yeah, and got rid of his OC after 1 year. How about I am Ryan Hale? What's going on, Ryan? Saw a Winefist article today on how Kyler's trade value increased with more return in Oregon. I say try him with LaFleur. Current quarterback market isn't great.
I understand the logic, and I would agree with it, but Monti Ossenfort has made up his mind from what we've heard and how things went down this year. I think they're going to try to sell. I agree with like his value. I think he's got some.
Right.
I would try. They're going to try to sell as high as they can, move that money, and then they're going to let Monti Ossenfort's ace in the hole is I haven't got to pick a quarterback yet.
Yeah, I think the positioning on this, it's tough. We're going to have to express it quite a bit. We look at the quarterback market because there's not going to be a quarterback that's pound for pound as talented as Kyler Murray.
Nope. But
it's going to be based on the Cardinals are inevitably going to move off of Kyler, and they're going to need a new quarterback. So it's not going to be like, well, you would rather take him instead of Kyler. It's like, no, that's not what we're saying. But
that's how they feel.
Yeah. Reese, if we don't get a quarterback right this offseason, doesn't matter who we hire. We won't be good next year.
I think they could get a bridge and win games this year and maybe develop a second rounder or position themselves to trade up next year. Like if you hire Mike LaFleur, like you can't be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think you got to win 6-7 games minimum. Again, when people are going to throw shade at me, like Kirk Cousins can come in here. Does he want to play one more year? Can you structure an offense around him? I think those are the kind of things they're going to be looking at.
How about Hayden's been a member for 4 months?
Thank you, Hayden.
Taking LaFleur to Filiberto's and Dutch Bros today before in the night at Zips on Mill.
Hell yeah.
With, Damon Dog. Castles and Coasters is tomorrow. Hell yeah. What a day. What a fun-filled 2 days.
Damon got invited to that? That's shocking. I could see Damon and LaFleur being buddies for sure. Thank you so much, Hayden, for your commitment.
Arena, some golden wings. Sign me up.
$2.
One airborne. Go Cardinals.
That's right. Back to just people are like, when are you guys going to start talking about the team and the breakdown of the team and when they get a coach?
Right.
Let's go Cardinals.
I like that support. Antonio, PHX 99. If LaFleur gets hired, how many games does he need to win for fans to get excited about the future of this franchise?
To truly get excited, I think he's got to win like 9 games, but I think like to feel like it's going in the right direction, depending on like how players are developing, 7 games.
All right. $20 super chat from Frank Rodriguez. You're the man, Frank. If you hire Coach Campanile, he can bring in Ben McDaniels as OC. He is the Texans wide receiver coach and passing game coordinator. They were on the same staff with Rutgers and Michigan. He's the little brother of Josh McDaniels.
Let's just get the all Nepo team, Nepo baby team. Let's do it. I'm with it, Frank. That's a great connection. It's Nepo babies with Arizona. It's just everybody's related to somebody. Hell yeah. Let's do that. I love that idea.
I like Frank breaking down the connections. I appreciate that.
We embrace that. Thank you,
Chef. $10. Member for 2 months. I'm sure that Mike wants to prove that he belongs with the big boys.
Yeah.
Spent time under McVay and Shanahan too, where he knows what to do. What better teacher than McVay and Shanahan?
I'm not just saying this. The biggest ass kicking this team took this year is when he came to State Farm Stadium and called plays while McVay was, I think, like under the weather or something. Or maybe he had another kid born or something, and he came into State Farm Stadium and just they score on like 10 straight drives or something.
I don't want to talk about it.
That could be our new head coach.
They had 1 third down, and it was like you look up, it was midway through the third quarter.
I mean, like if I'm him, I just show that to Monti Ossenfort and be like, "Here you go. Remember this? Remember this day?"
Bees camp greater than LaFleur isn't a play caller. Same OC issue.
He's saying that basically that LaFleur is not a proven play caller. I mean. That you would have to be able to convince them that you can call plays.
Bees wants him to call plays. I think I saw him firmly in that camp.
I'm not opposed to that either, Bo. I know you are, but
that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and die on that hill. But you guys can take me down on that hill. That's fine. Okay. Whatever. How about Hannibal? We will be saying we love MILF, Mike LaFleur. MILF.
I think they're
keep it going.
I didn't expect you to read it after the fact. Maybe put that on a t-shirt, merchandise locker. Might have to clip that. No.
77. Far north, is there a universe where LaFleur and Camp can work together? Bidwill will have to fork out the cash, but we're the shot, right?
Yes.
I don't think there's a chance. It's either you bring in Camp as your coach, your head coach, or he's going to go back and be DC for Liam Cohen.
Hey, Bo, who hired Campanile?
Who hired him?
Yeah.
For the Jags?
Yeah. Who's the Jags head coach?
Oh, Liam Cohen.
So a guy from this tree found a good DC.
All right.
That's kind of where I'm going with. Whereas
like a trick at the end of this
one.
I'm
just saying, like, it can they could go find somebody that's good. They can call this defense.
Camp, where he come from? Green Bay Packers.
John and Gannon being the next DC. Yes, Noah's saying we have 30 super checks.
He'd like us to speed it up.
199. Any other teams that wanted Mike LaFleur? I think the Raiders. He's tied to the Raiders. He did a bunch of interviews with everybody else, and if he doesn't get hired this year, I could see him getting hired next year. Whereas, we feel like Vance's time has run its course.
Keeping it going, 30-plus super chats remaining. How about rocker vocalist? If LaFleur, who's his DC? If Camp, who's his OC? Tudu Santi, 64th Greenway. Great Italian food.
That sounds great. I'd love that. Camp, we should do a bit with Camp and I would go out to eat to an Italian restaurant. You probably find that highly offensive, but I would love that. I think LaFleur's DC in a perfect world is Raheem Morris. I don't know who Camp would be his OC. I don't think anybody does.
What's your favorite Italian cuisine? Is it Olive Garden?
Come on, that's
you get some deep cuts.
I do love chains.
Of course you do. That.
I do love chains. I don't. We did go to Olive Garden. I feel like a couple months ago. It was really bad.
Yeah.
You go to Chili's and you're like, maybe chains are okay. And then you go to other places and it's like, no, they're bad.
Pan of Wings, would Camp's OC be Shane Waldron?
Oh, dear God, I hope not. Is he
Pray
still
for Marv if that happens. Yeah. I saw that clip of JSN make its rounds again last night after his monster day.
It's an all-time.
Their friends over at CHGO. Oh, man. Keeping it going. How about Desert Vulture? LaFleur agreeing and signing a contract is going to give this team momentum it sorely needs.
Agreed. And I just hope that whether it's LaFleur or Camp, that they're in a position where the fan base can be like, okay, fresh start. Because there'll be a segment of the fan base that's disappointed here or regardless. Jenga Man, $2. If they love Mike, but he wants Kyler, what happens? You keep Kyler. I don't think they're keeping Kyler. I think you tell Mike LaFleur, you're picking your quarterback in free agency, the draft, clean slate. I mean, the Kyler Murray needs a clean start, and he needs a clean start out of the NFC West. The people in the NFC West know his status in the conference, in the division.
I choose Jimmy G's. Please pick again. Keeping it going. How about AZ Moses? Who will the next Cardinals head coach? Michael LaFleur, Anthony Campanile. How about Raheem Morris? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Man, those teases at the end of the show, they got you every weekday afternoon. Thanks, AZ Moses. Nate is great. $4.99. Johnny talking his stuff to the fakes on podcasts got me hyped. There's just so many frauds out there. And then there are people who try to diminish credibility. And it's just what do you guys, what do you do? You don't do anything. And you're just this is really what's happening. And it's just some random avatar. And it's just guys, just calm down. Bo and I do this every day. We literally do this every day. Right. I've done a podcast. I feel 99 days out of the last 100 days.
Maybe you have. I'm not a true sicko. Bees, I like my family. You're Mike McDonald. You see your son like 30 minutes a week.
That is me. Get away, kids. Daddy's recording again.
Bees, fastest routes and routers in the game. Mike.
I loved the offense that I saw last night. If that's the offense, I mean, think about all the people that caught passes for Stafford last night. Puka dominated. Devontae Adams this year dominated. The tight ends are good. The backs catch passes. Give me that. Give me. ESPN.
He's talking about Bidwill's routers, like his router for his Wi-Fi.
Could be possible.
How about ESPN 2323? Let's be honest, guys. They waited too long, and they're trying to sell the fans on an OC, but we all know they're settling. Same thing every year.
I disagree. Bo and I were high on LaFleur like early in this process, and we knew that they wanted to talk to the Rams coordinators. If this was like truly settling, we would know it. I mean, Vance is truly settling.
No,
that's where we've been focused on.
We're almost at 300 likes. Let's get there before the end of the show. Keeping it going. Our guy Charlie Sinclair, resident Chargers fan. Man, it's got to be cool to be a Chargers fan right now. McDaniel, first officially. Yeah, there you go. How about M. LaFleur? Time in New York doesn't scare you. Quarterback situation wasn't great either. Sidebar, going from Roman to Mike McDaniels is like going from Halfley to Gannon. Upgrade.
I love that Charlie just like mixes in like, it's weird. Things aren't going well for you, but things are really going well for me.
That's what happens when you have Jim Harbaugh as your head coach.
Right. He fixes that. He saved your franchise. He did legitimately saved your franchise. Jonathan Castro, $4.99. LaFleur has been around a lot of good coaches. I predict he can build a better staff than Campanile. I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
That's the initial feel. Campanile would have to prove, even though he built his old defensive staff on his own. How about keeping it going here? Officer of the law, McTitties. What happens to Nick if Raheem gets hired as DC? It's a great question. Did the Cardinals finally release him?
He goes to Green Bay.
Probably.
Already feel good about that. He'll go. Okay. He'll be a Green Bay Packer.
Keeping it going here. How about Tony Thompson? So we go Mike and Raheem. Do we still trade K1? Do we also trade down in the draft, still get offensive line help, and try to get the 27 future first for a quarterback?
I think they would go bridge QB to compete with Jacoby and then keep their options open to trade up for a quarterback that they like, second rounder, Tyler Shuck, if somebody emerges. I think and then give yourself an opportunity to draft one again next year.
Yeah, the latter, that's intriguing. Like, do you trade down to maybe get a bunch of draft capital? But Monty, I mean, he can't like play the long game here. So.
I'm not opposed to trading down if it means like you want to trade down and get multiple picks and have one of them be a quarterback. Even like I agree with that super chat earlier. If like Mike LaFleur wants Ty Simpson, find a way to do that.
Yeah, Cruz. About $20. Thank you, Cruz. It feels like most sports commentators, local and national, don't actually follow the Cardinals. They just regurgitate each other's garbage takes. This show actually tells it how it is. The best Cardinals coverage, in my opinion. Thank you, Cruz. You're the best.
We would feel like we were disrespecting the audience if we didn't do it with the latter. And I consume everything that's put out about this team for the most part, locally and nationally. And man, it's just like a lot of it is just tough to stomach because you can just tell that they're just trying to sell you on something that's not reality. And it's just most of the time, it's just Bo and I just keeping it real here.
Mm-hmm. AZ Moses jumping in again. How about when Matt LaFleur was hired in Green Bay, he only had 2 years experience as an offensive coordinator. It's worth taking a shot on his brother to possibly produce similar results.
It's who is the safer gamble, because they're both gambles. And the safer gamble, in my opinion, is Mike LaFleur. You're right, AZ Moses. Correct.
Jesus is mental. If they don't hire him tonight or tomorrow, I'll send him my resume.
It'll be I think it'll be Campanile, or I think we'll know tomorrow. Bo's right. It'll be tomorrow.
Super sticker for $4.99. Thank you, Mark Heffley.
Thank you.
Mark's back. $4.99. Will we know what K1 actually did? Thanks for the show. Guys are great.
Yeah, well, we'll do a podcast after he's traded when the dust settles, and we'll talk about everything that happened during the season. Yes, 100%. I promise to do that.
All right, great. Love that. How about, let's see, is that Lily Pads Pond? I'm a narratives guy when it comes to the NFL. AZ historically better with OCs. McVay disciples never fail. I like Camp, but LaFleur is a better fit. That's really well said.
You talk exact logic that people should use. It's like, I really like Campanile, but historically, the last three offensive coaches have all made the playoffs for the Cardinals. The last defensive guys have all flamed out. And LaFleur checks boxes from a resume standpoint. The Campanile, it's not his fault. He just can't check yet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they went Campanile, that would he would have to come here and like it would be obvious. He would have to just own this town.
How about Avid? Really wouldn't mind keeping Kyler. Let's face it, coaching really kept him down the past few years. With the right staff, Kyler's our best option.
I agree with that. Monti Ossenfort does not. We know that definitively. We might miss on certain things. That is something that you can take to the bank. We will not miss on that.
We got Huncho Hop. Bo, did you see that? What Carr said about the Cardinals? I did. I was actually going to post that, but I didn't want to get ratioed. This was a couple weeks ago, but he loves the Cardinals where they are roster wise. He likes all their playmakers. That's like before this coaching search kind of materialized. I thought Kubiak, Carr could be something for the Cardinals.
I think it would work with Mike LaFleur. I think it'd be a great fit.
Yeah, we'll see if he wants to play again. Dusty Cooks, please, Bidwill, for sakes, bid better and go buy some longevity for our fan base. Stop this poverty crisis and make a good decision.
Raheem Morris is LaFleur's defensive coordinator. Would be money well spent, and they know it. Or Anthony Weaver. Raheem, no. I mean, like, you got to have a really nice offer for Raheem the minute that LaFleur gets his contract on.
Keeping it going. How about Jonathan Castro? Have you guys watched David Bailey's tape? Elite first step. He's nice.
Very good.
I like David Bailey. It's not like if you're comparing and contrasting him between some of the top prospects, the only thing I see from Bailey is like he's got a great first step, and you're seeing he's playing Kansas. He's playing some tackle that has no business being a starting tackle at the D1 level. I don't know. Like
the two best pass rush. Yeah, the two best pass rushes, unfortunately, are in two conferences that you're a little bit concerned about. Like Miami's out of conference schedule is good.
Yeah, but Bain went through the gauntlet in the
playoff. Right. $5. A LaFleur hire is based on potential, not what he did with the Jets or the Rams. Camp will almost immediately give us a dominant D, and he has proven it. No argument. Yeah. But you're hiring a coach based on potential too. You want to see where the ceiling can get. What if Campanile comes in and your defense is good, but it's Raheem Morris with the Falcons and your offense can't get it going and you're not playing in the NFC South? At some point, you're going to have to get the offense fixed. Jonathan Gannon, his defense was good at the first part last year. They gave up 16 points to the 49ers. They lost. They couldn't score 20 points.
Samwin Digital, Mac Jones with LaFleur.
Let's go. I wouldn't give them more than a third. If they take a third, I don't know if they trade within division, but I feel like a team like maybe Minnesota would be a little bit more aggressive.
Brian P., friend of the show, Jets having Membu and Fashanu. They'll go Bain or Reese.
Great point.
Ready for this coaching search to be over. Quarterback talking incoming. See you boys at the draft party.
Brian, I hope we see you before the draft party, my guy. That's a great point. And yeah, you're right. Fashanu, I think, plays outside. He didn't kick into guard, and Membu's good. So yeah, I think best available OT for this franchise to bookend with Paris. Hell yeah. And just let Mike operate with a quarterback that's upright. Let's go. Rangers back, gifting 5 more memberships.
Oh.
That's 15 gifted from Ranger and 5 from Deb. We appreciate it. We got 20 new members today. Let's go.
Unreal. How about our friend here in the chat, Tivato? JV taking out LaFleur for some mocha lattes?
You bet your ass I am. And I can drink those this year at the Combine. So maybe I'll just get 2 for him and me. No, non-sugar, of course. And I'll just be like, hey, Mike, you don't know me. Here's a drink. It's safe.
Here's an adult drink, but it's actually a child's drink because I need syrup and sugar in it to enjoy my coffee.
That ain't me.
Jacob, good chance we get Malik Willis if we hire LaFleur.
I think he's bound for Miami, but maybe. Maybe he goes with the offense.
They afford him?
I wouldn't sign Malik Willis. I think they get something a little more conventional.
I'm not going to rule it out. Keeping it going. How about Sooner? LaFleur seems too nice on some of the videos I watched. Who's going to discipline these players we have? Hard-nosed DC?
Yeah. Raheem Morris.
Rangers back.
LaFleur can rip people. Like his brother rips people. Just because you like look young does not mean that you can't get after people. I scream and yell on this podcast all the time. Look like I'm in junior high when I shave. People are like, who's that intern?
Yeah, I will buy the cards and hire Johnny and Bo as GM. How about that chat? LOL.
Thank you, Ranger. Ranger, we got to meet you this offseason. That's
right. Desert Vulture, great coaching evidence.
Yeah, finish this one. Yeah.
Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl before Lamar and Allen, all three in the same draft class.
Let's go.
It was a great quarterback draft class. I mean, you got Baker, you got Sam Darnold, you got Josh Allen, you got some other scrub, and then Lamar Jackson.
And then Mr. Hot Tub in his dorm. Jack putting us onto this. I appreciate you. Albert Breer tweet. I'm going to read it. You ready?
Yeah.
Albert Breer, just 2 minutes ago, the Cardinals are taking Rams OC Mike LaFleur out to dinner tonight in Phoenix. Ooh, dinner, boys. And he'll have his second interview with the team tomorrow, per sources.
Wow. Should I make a stop by Steak 44 on the way home?
Where they're at?
Should I just be over there, just at the bar?
Hey,
it's my phone.
Hey, creep.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, Steak 44 used to be the spot, but who knows?
What do you make of that tweet?
I mean, it's just advancing the story. It seems like they're going to lead us to one spot, one
Why
destination.
are you letting that get out if this is not your head coach? Can you imagine, like, when is the last time, hey, so-and-so is out to dinner with the team and then he didn't get the job?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember any instance like that. You think they're going to hire Campanile? He didn't get a dinner tweet. This would be an all-time fumble if they put out a dinner tweet and then they don't give him the job. They're getting
Henry Fowler also just kind of LaFleur involved, saying back pocket item to consider with head coach candidate Nate Scheelhaus. What happens with Rams OC Mike LaFleur? If LaFleur gets the head coaching job, doing an in-person Arizona, Scheelhaus would likely become the prime candidate to replace him. That's a potential option for Scheelhaus.
Do you think Scheelhaus would rather wait to see what happens with LaFleur and the OC, and then as opposed to just run into the Browns job?
I don't know. I think you'd still want to take the job.
I think so too. Man.
But like you're under McVay, it's a pretty strong spot to be in.
You're set up to pick your own job eventually.
We're passing the 2-hour mark right now. Thank you to everybody. Continue to tune in, hit that like button. How about Monjo? Let's just bring Carson Palmer back. Haha.
Have him come be your president of football ops.
I'd love that.
Clamoring for. Get an ex-athlete like Fitz or Anquan or Carson Palmer or Kurt Warner to come be the president of your football operations would do wonders for this franchise. That's the next step they need to take.
Yeah. Unbelievable stuff from all of you in the chat. Great work out there. Thank you for all your super chats, all the membership supporters that have been purchased by Deb and Ranger, 20 plus added today, building this unbelievable community. So thankful for that. Our friends over the Wildcats, they got a big watch along. Please tune in, support our guys, Damon, and of course, Kevo. Good stuff from Noah as well. And Johnny, we're on standby here. Dinner, maybe deal. Is that coming up next?
Should you and I go out to eat? Maybe Chili's? Triple dipper for two bros hosting a podcast?
Maybe that's where they'll be. We'll look over.
Could you imagine if they were splitting a triple dipper together?
Mike LaFleur would say, where do I sign?
You'd be like, how do I get out of here? Give me an Uber back to Sky Harbor. We're on head coach watch. It's been a long road. I think the next time we fire these mics up for the first time in almost a month, the Arizona Cardinals will have a new head coach. Will it be the perennial favorite, Mike LaFleur, or that Italian stallion underdog, Anthony Campanile? Can't wait.
I can't either, but unless that happens, barring that happening, we'll talk to you 4:30 right here tomorrow on PHNX Sports. Become our 50,000th subscriber. Only way to do that, hit that subscribe, like this show, and we'll talk to you soon here on PHNX Cards.
We all silly like the mayor.